Hello everyone. This is Kristen with Intentionally Nourishing. On to part 4 of our grocery shopping series. Today we're going to talk about seafood and shellfish. Kind of similar guidelines to what we mentioned yesterday with, purchasing meat and dairy from our land animals. When it comes to fish and shellfish, what you're kind of looking for is you're looking for wild versus farm raised. So, wild fish are a much better choice than our farm raised fish because farm raised fish are fish that are raised in cages in kind of an artificial setting. Many fish are crammed into a cage. They're often exposed to pesticides. They have to use antibiotics on the fish because they're in such poor living conditions. Um, and oftentimes fish are fed things that they wouldn't normally eat out in the wild. And so, for example, if you purchase farm raised salmon is actually gray. They feed that fish a fish meal of other fish parts and things that don't give it the pink color that they would get from their diet in the ocean. And so they actually use food coloring on farm raised salmon to make it look pink because we all expect salmon to be pink. So that's like double gross. So check the packaging for there. Wild is always better than farm raised. And I know, again, Costco carries some farm raised. You have to be careful, like in their fresh section, but in the frozen section, they have a lot of different options. If you know a fisherman, I'm trying to think, maybe some of you guys have some other ideas. I know Whole Foods sometimes does fish deals here and there. Fridays are usually their day for like a big deal of some sort. So you could call the store and ask them what their deal of the day is, but we have stocked up on salmon when their deal of the Friday is salmon. So, check through your stores, that kind of thing. Some other things, if you're concerned about heavy metal contamination, the bigger the fish, the more chance that the fish has something like mercury because it means that the fish has lived longer. So smaller fish, I know some people like sardines or other smaller fish. Those ones don't live as long, so they don't accumulate as much heavy metals in their tissues. So if you're concerned about heavy metals, that could be something to consider as well. Buying local. We don't here in Central Oregon. We don't live on the ocean, but there are lakes and things around. But you do have to also be careful of native fish versus fish that came from hatcheries and things like that, which could also have some issues. Another thing you should just do is ask questions and, find out, don't be afraid when you're at the supermarket to ask, or at a farmer's market even, to ask, where'd this fish come from? How was it raised? Because if you're going to pay for it, you have every right to know that information. So never feel weird about that. You should feel comfortable doing that. And then the last thing is we have to be aware now of genetically modified ingredients in fish. So salmon was the first approved animal to be genetically modified and sold on the market. And thank goodness for a lot of places like Costco, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, a lot of grocery stores and restaurants say, no, we will not sell it. So, check online for a list of places to know because it does not have to be labeled. So you could think you're getting wild caught, farm raised, however you want to purchase salmon, and there will be no label on that for whether or not it's genetically altered. And what they did was they combined two genes of two different species of salmon, and they combined another gene in there to make the fish grow faster. Why do they want to do that? To make more money off of us, to sell more fish. And the study is just what kills me. They studied 6 fish in Panama for 2 weeks and said, totally fine. No long-term studies have been done whatsoever. It's just frightening people, the lack of regulation and the lack of safety in our food supply and in so many things. So we have to be intentional about what we're giving our family. And this is a huge area. Not only, have they barely tested this, but what they did find out is it has less omega-3s, has less protein, less vitamins. So let's not mess with nature, people. God created these animals perfectly for us and for our health, and let's keep them as they are because who knows? We know genetic modification can contribute to allergies, depending on what gets put in the genes. So that's a big thing to watch out for, guys. And again, ask questions about, what's in your seafood. In terms of other shellfish like scallops, shrimp, things like that, you need to be really careful with shrimp too, because of some of the conditions that it's raised in. So I'm going to put a website called, oh gosh, what's it called? Ocean Watch, yes. And Ocean Watch will tell you like what to look for in the different shellfish species and what's safe and what's, a lot of our oceans have been depleted for food because they've been overfished. And so it gives you some really good ideas of safe and really renewable forms of fish and shellfish to look out for. So hope that's helpful and hope you have a great day. And then tomorrow we'll finish off the week and I'll give you a great recipe. So hope you enjoy. Thanks. Bye-bye.